Number 1. So here's a little backstory. I'm a 19-year-old female living in the UK. I was on my day off from work as I worked 6 days a week at a very unpopular delivery service called Yodel. My mom was out the night before staying at my grandmother's house due to her being ill. I have 2 small dogs, both Chihuahua Cross Yorkshire Terriers, who don't really need all that much walking, but this Sunday morning I was feeling it. It was around 6:30 in the morning, which means it was still pretty dark out when I put their coats on and left the house. The local park is a 2-minute walk away from my house, which I had no problem getting to. So cut to about 10 minutes into my walk, I'm halfway around the park when I notice that it's brighter than usual, so I turn around to see a car parked in the parking lot of this park with its lights on full beam directed straight at me. Now at this point, I'm starting to feel uneasy as I was about to start making my way back there, as that is the way that I had entered the park. Something in my gut told me that it was an incredibly bad idea, so instead decided to cut across to the adjoining field and made my way across from there, as there was a public pathway running parallel to both fields. So cut again to about 15 minutes later, and I'm starting to calm down, feeling like I had overreacted to the whole situation. So I get to the end of the public pathway. I've passed a few harmless people and am feeling pretty stupid at this point. What I had forgotten was that the parking lot previously mentioned was just up the road, and the road I had come out at connected to it. As I was just about to turn off the public pathway back onto the main road, a car drives past that at first didn't look particularly memorable until the passenger in the car drove past with the biggest, cruelest, most evil grin on his face as they passed me. I stopped in my tracks and they pulled up just down the road and waited. I started walking home double time, and the walk that would have taken me 20 minutes took me 10, and the entire walk home, this car followed me. Thankfully, I had to cut through little alleyways to get to the road leading to the park, and I managed to lose them by the time I got to my house. After I had caught my breath, I looked out of my kitchen window carefully without moving the blinds to see 3 guys in maybe their mid-20s stalking around the area, presumably looking for me. Number 2. This story is about a night shift experience that I will never forget. By the way, I'm female. When I was 18 years old, I worked as a lifeguard in Toronto, Canada. I had been doing this job for 2 years and worked at a lot of different pools. I had picked up this shift that was every Friday night, 6:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. during the winter season, also known as the loser shift, for people who don't have anything fun to do on Friday nights. In early December, I was the only one left in the pool building on my Friday shift at about 10:30 p.m. The pool building is attached to a main community center that has an ice rink and gym in it, but the pool building has a completely different entrance and parking lot than the community center. Anyway, I was about to lock up and drop the key off at the main building when I saw a girl waiting outside in the parking lot. She was about 10 years old, and I recognized her as one of the people who came for free swim during my shift. I was about to ask her if she wanted to come wait inside because it was freezing outside when the phone rang. I went back into the staff office to answer the call, and after I was done, the girl was gone. I assumed her parents had come to pick her up, or something logical. I then grabbed my stuff, turned the lights off, and locked the door to drop the key off, and then walk home. I was walking across the parking lot for about 15 meters when I heard a faint, muffled scream. I turned around quickly and saw a truck idling at the far end of the parking lot. It was kind of far away, and I had to squint my eyes to see what was going on. In horror, I realized a man was bent over and struggling to get something into his truck. I moved a little closer towards the truck and saw that the man was wearing all black and had a scarf covering half of his face. Then I saw a girl's arm trying to hold the trunk open while the man was trying to shut it. She had her legs sticking out of the trunk too, kicking and also holding the trunk door open. I recognized her as the girl that was waiting outside before. I noticed her bright pink winter jacket. 2 seconds later, I realized what was going on. I started panicking and looking for my phone in my bag. The parking lot was completely empty other than that one truck. It was dimly lit and the ground was very icy. I looked up once I found my phone at the bottom of my bag. The man stopped struggling to get the girl into the trunk and turned to face me. As quickly as possible, I turned around and started running back towards the pool door. I looked over my shoulder while I was cautiously running, trying not to slip on the ice. He was charging towards me. I was about 10 meters away from the door, and he had gotten significantly closer to me. I started screaming, but it was hard to scream while running. I got to the door and struggled to get the keys out of my coat pocket. He was about 5 meters away when I unlocked the door and shut it behind me, then locked it. I called the cops on my phone and told the operator what was happening, and she said the police were on their way. It was terrifying to watch the man come right up at the door and try to open it, looking at me through the glass window at the top of the door. He banged on it and was yelling at me. I couldn't really hear what he was saying, though. I then gave him the finger, and then I think he realized that I was on the phone, and then he took off. It was horrifying to be behind the building door and not be able to see what was going on with the truck and the girl. I heard sirens pull into the parking lot about 5 long minutes after he left. I then felt that it was safe to open the door and walk outside. When I got outside, the girl was running towards the police cars and the truck was nowhere in sight. Turns out that he lured her to his truck, not really sure how, and then tried to abduct her. Once he stopped banging on the pool door, he ran back to his car, threw the girl out of the trunk, then sped out of the parking lot to never be seen again. I gave the police my statement, and as far as I know, he was never caught. Creepy Mina here of the Worst Nightmare channel. I hope you enjoyed those 2 women's stories of nearly being abducted by predators. I'm still looking for submissions of stories regarding shadow people, imaginary friends, or nurses' paranormal stories. If you have any similar stories, please email them to creepymina@gmail.com, or if you'd like your story narrated by any horror channel creator, submit them to brosgrim.co or to the subreddit Willing Stories. Please comment below, give me a thumbs up, share on your favorite social networking platform, subscribe if you haven't already, be aware of your surroundings, and remember to stay safe.